Veronika Heydrich was a liar. It was her fatal flaw, the demon that followed her all the days of her life. They called it storytelling when she was a little girl, fibbing in grade school, and exaggerating in high school. During her university days, they called it her Heydrich spin. And as an undercover cop, they called it a natural gift. Only it had made a wreck of her personal life and destroyed almost every relationship she ever had. She was the kind of girl who could swear on all she held dear and look you straight in the eye while lying through her teeth. She crushed many people throughout her life who thought they had come with her to the moment of truth, only to have her renege in an ultimate betrayal. For them, it was a bridge burned forever. For her, it was just another sad episode in the story of her life. She had been a mistress at rationalization, perhaps her greatest sin, her ability to lie to herself. She made herself believe that she was better off having severed relationships with those who could not help her get ahead, those who expected to suffer a setback in favor of truth. She could not think of a single situation where the lie could not have eventually become the truth, where she had not been able to prevail by turning fantasy into reality. She could not think of one person who had walked away from her who had truly become a loss in her life. Actually, there was one. Evan Carlo had walked away, and her partner, turned lover, turned fiancé, turned rival, had been missed. She had never gotten that close to a man before, and it was almost as if she had finally found her soulmate. They had moved in together, they had set a wedding date, but she just couldn't stop lying, and he finally had enough. When he moved out, he took a piece of her heart with him, and she realized she had to get him back, so she could put herself back together. They had been partners on the field, and they voluntarily split up to assist on separate sting operations for the NYPD. Police Chief Joel Madden had been her guardian angel throughout her career, and he knew that giving her and Carlo some space was the best thing for them. Everyone knew they had a personal relationship, and they were true professionals who left it at home when they put on their badges in the morning. He also knew they were one of his best undercover teams, and he hoped it was going to work out to the benefit of the NYPD. Veronika knew it would be to her benefit as well. There had been rumors about a police investigation developing over the homeless movement in New York City, as an estimated 60,000 persons listed were being recruited into an activist movement. IMU, or I Am You, had become a rallying cry that began on Facebook, then began appearing on patches and stickers, appearing on backpacks and shopping carts among the destitute. At first, it was seen as a reproach to the affluent, but recently there were concerns that a militant group had professed an ulterior motive. Word had spread that the King of the Hoboes, Adolf Hyatt, had come to New York City with the express purpose of uniting the homeless of New York in an activist movement. Hyatt had been allegedly crowned as King of the Hobo underground network that had existed for over 200 years. Members of the network had been interviewed over the decades, and it was seen as an exotic facet of Americana, unique to its society and culture. Artists and poets across the decades had extolled the traveling spirit of wanderers across the country, and riding the rails was stuff that legends were made of. Only the thought of homeless people uniting in a militant cause was alarming people still experiencing the long-term effects of 9/11. Police activity among the homeless was not unusual. It was a running joke among the law enforcement community that every other vagrant on the streets of Washington, D.C., was most likely a Secret Service agent. However, the eyes of the law had not been trained on the homeless themselves as persons of interest. It was an exceedingly unpleasant task in the eyes of NYPD officials, who foresaw a multitude of problems should the investigation come to light.